In a previous class, we discussed about conditional statements. Those conditional statements are if, else, and a switch. Today class, we are going to discuss about looping statements. Looping statements. So these looping statements, why do we use these looping statements? To iterate the set of instructions or a block of code set of to iterate the set of instructions, some set of instructions, then we can use these looping statements. So iteration nothing but we can repeat the execution. Okay, so that we can write to repeat the execution on some set of statements. This is another definition. What are the looping statements? Means looping statements we can use to repeat the execution on some set of statements or instructions. So Java provides three types of looping statements. Looping statements. So that number one is for loop, number two is while, number three is do while. Okay, so these three statements already you aware of these looping statements in the C++, C language also. The same syntax Java also follows. Okay, so now, okay, right. So these looping statements used to repeat the execution. So first, these three statements can we can use for different purposes, but they can do same thing, repeating the execution of the statements. So one by one we see. So first one is a for loop. Is a for loop. So for loop, why do we use this for loop? Means if we know the number of iterations fixed, if the number of iterations are fixed, then we go for this for loop. Okay, so that means before going to write the program, the programmer should know how many times the loop may be executed. That means we can use it. We can use for loop when the number of iterations are fixed. We can use for loop when number of iterations are fixed. That means we have to know the number of iterations first, then we will go for that. Means 10 times the loop should be continue, 10 times the statement should execute. So that means 10 times, 100 times, or 50 times, that we know first, then we will go for this for loop. So how to write the syntax for this? The syntax is for the first thing is initial values or initialization block, colon, semicolon, then next conditional part, then semicolon, here increment or decrement or decrement expressions. Okay, so this and use the block nothing but here within the braces. Here we write looping instructions, those statements, or the statements we can write. So this is about the for loop syntax, initialization part and a conditional part, and this is increment or decrement part. Right, we see one example. For I can initialize I value. Mostly everyone can use I to iterate the loop. So we can use here I is equal to 0. The initial value is 0. Semicolon. I can repeat this until I less than 11. I less than 11 nothing but up to 10. I less than 11. Then I plus means I value will be increased. Yeah. Then next we write here the statement. What statement? I can write here system dot out dot println the value of I value plus I. Now we are writing like this. Okay, this is the only one statement I wrote here, but we can write a number of statements. Any number of statements we can write within this. So first I value, then next I value is 0. Then next it will check the condition. Then it enters into the looping statements, iteration statements. It executes. After execution of this block, then it will come to the again this I plus plus. That means increment value. After increasing again, it will check the condition. Again it enters into this uh, block, the block of statements. After executing this block of statements, again it will come to this increment or decrement part. That means in the for loop, initialization part will execute only once. Then it enters into the conditional part. When it enters into the conditional part, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then enters into the block of code. After completion of the block of code, it will go to the increment and decrement. So then it will go to the condition only, but not initial values. It will not go to the initial values again and again. Only once the initial part will be execute. Okay, now. So the same thing in the C++ also. This is. But here one thing we have to remember: if block, if for block contains, if the for block contains only one statement, only then curly braces are optional. We need not to keep. Okay, now if you want, you can, otherwise optional. Okay, this is about the for loop. Okay, we can write a small program on this, and we will do it to finish. See, we write a small program for loop. Okay, how to start a class? How to start a class? A class, for example, public static void main string args. Then next we can take here direct, we can write a for int I is equal to same whatever we wrote, that we can execute. I less than 11, I plus plus. Here we write system dot out dot println I value is plus I. We are going to print that I value. Main close and class close. Just we can save this file. So this file we are saving with class name. See, so some of the students also asking that is it compulsory to save the file with the class name? So it is not compulsory. Just you can practice. After we enters into the OOPS concepts, then I will explain why should we write a class name as a file name. Okay, but you can practice this. This is a good practice to write the class name as a file name. Okay, for example dot java on the desktop, I am saving that. Then go to command prompt. Okay, cd desktop, cd desktop. Then next java, what is that? For example dot java. Error, sorry, java c, I didn't write java c. Okay, java c, for example dot java. Java, for example. Remove the extension. Right. See here, I value 0, I value 1, I value 2, I value 3. We wrote only one statement. We wrote only one statement, but it is repeating. It is repeating these many times. Okay, that is 10 times up to 10. 0 to 10. This is about the for loop. Okay, right. This for loop. Then now we go for the next loop. Next loop. This for loop contains another form. For loop contains another form. That means for uh, that while we are running the enhanced for loop, that yes, enhanced for loop, that we call as a for each. Okay, that we can call this is for each. This is not in C, C++. This is from Java only. Okay, so this will work with the arrays, a list of values. Okay, then how to write that we will see. So the syntax is the same thing, but to iterate the group of values, then we can use this for each. Mostly we use with the arrays. Okay, so we write the syntax, then I can explain how to write this. This is in Java only. You don't know before, because in C, C++ it is not there. Okay, so what is the syntax of for, and here the type of the data, then next variable name colon, then array values, array name, close, then next here the statements, then close this. Okay, this is only this simple. There is no initialization part of nothing. So this array means it contains a sum of values. These values one by one comes into this variable. Okay, now one by one comes into this variable. Then on that variable we can perform any logic in these statements. That is, so here for, so this is for looping type, which type value this array contains, which type value this array contains, that type we can write here. The next variable, so uh, uh, this variable receives the each element from this array one by one. Then we can use these statements here. Okay, so for example I will show you that. For example, integer type array I can take, integer type array. Okay, is equal to, then we write here 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. So 5 elements I am taking. Okay, this is the array. This array I want to print by multiplying with 2 something. So I want to raise to I want to that means by multiplying to each element I want to print them. Right, we can write here for type, which type these elements type, which type element these are. So we take here int type, means all the elements are int type. So we can take here int. So now one variable x anything you can take, and colon, what is the array here? A is the array, that's all. Then next here, so now from array A, each element 10 will come and store in X. After completion of this loop, again it will come to the next element. Again it will come to the next element, like that. Now here I can perform system.out.println. Just I write here SOP. While writing the program, we will write completely. SOP. Now I want to print by multiplying with 2. So what is the element now? Array element X. X is the array element. This element, just I can write one string. Element is plus X into 2. This I can write. That means this array, this is an example. And these array values can be repeated here. This is a enhanced for loop. Enhanced for loop. Okay. Right. We see this in the programming also. The same thing. Just I can remove these things. Right here we can take an array. This, yeah, this same thing we can take. But here system dot out dot println. This is the array. Array values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. After then values from this array, each value will come into X. Then we are performing some logic on that X. That means all these elements will be continue. Okay, now we can save this again. Compile it. Java C for loop dot Java. Compile. Yeah, Java for loop. Here the elements are 10. First element 10 into 2, 20, 20 into 2, 40, 30 into 2, 60, 40 into 2, 80, 50 into 2, 100. The element is like that. X, what is X means? Each element of the array. Okay, this is a enhanced for loop. These for loop work on a list of elements. That means a list of elements here means nothing but arrays. The list must contain the same type values. Same type. Array contains the same type of value. So that's why it works on the arrays. Okay. All right. Yeah. This is about the enhanced for loop. Then we go for the second loop, while loop. Okay. So while loop, we can use this while loop if we don't know the number of iterations. If we don't know the number of iterations, then we go for the number of iterations. Then we go for the while loop. If we don't know the number of iterations, then we go for the while loop. So what is the syntax for this? Okay, so loop means iteration of the statements. So here we can write a while, then the condition, after then here the statements, then close. Yeah, this is just while it is taking a condition. If the condition is true, then it enters into the while block, then it executes this. So where this loop will be stopped if the condition is false. So to make that condition is false while iterating, so we have to write that logic within this block only. Okay, right. So when it is entering into the loop, then it is checking the condition. So we can call it as a entry level loop. Is known as a entry level loop. It is checking the condition at entry level only. So entry level loop, we call it as a entry level loop. Okay, right. So this example also we can write a while we can write a condition. For example, n not is equal to 0. N not is equal to 0. Then we write here the statements. Some of the statements SOP and some statements execution. N value we can print n is equal to plus n, like that. So first we have to write the condition here. Okay, after then the values. So n value should be increase or decrement. We can write within this only n minus. I can increase this. If I take the n value at first into n is equal to 10. Int n is equal to 10. Now I am checking. N is not is equal to 0. Yes, not is equal to 0. N is 10. Then it enters n minus. N value will be printed. Again it come to the while loop. So it will check it. If n minus means 9, n is equal to 9, then it comes here. So like that it will continue that. Okay, na? So for this purpose we can use this while loop. Okay. The next one is third one. Before entering into the third one, we see one program on the while loop. Okay. Class we can write as a while example. Okay. Logic will be changed. we can save this as a while example dot java. While example dot java, right? Why should we write this program means, just we can write this program to find sum of digits of a number. Sum of digits of a number. Sum of digits of a number. That is our program. I wrote here comment. Okay, remember that. Next we can take int n is equal to some number, we can take 345. This we have to store in one variable, that is n. Int n is equal to 345. Okay, after then we can take while n not is equal to 0, then we have to continue the loop, and then we have to find sum of digits. To find that sum of digits, we need some variables. So that means sum of digits means we required these digits. While sorry, here int we required to store the result sum. The initially sum is 0. Yeah, then next we can find digits. These digits we can get from the remainder part. So we can take here comma rem, remainder part. Okay, so these are enough. See here how we are writing here. So we can find the remainder is equal to n percentile 10. N percentile 10. N means 345. N means 345. 345 percentile 10 means we will get the remainder part, because this is percentage modular division. When we are doing modular division, we will get the remainder as the result. So here remainder part will be 5. The 5 will be stored in remainder, rem. So that's why we take here the variable remainder. So this remainder, what we can do means we can add to the sum. Sum is equal to sum plus rem. So what is sum value? Sum value initially it is 0 we took, so that's why we took here sum value 0. 0 plus rem, remainder nothing but what we got here, remainder 5. 5 is the remainder. So 0 plus 5 will be stored in again sum. Okay, right? Then we can do n by, sorry, n is equal to n by 10. N is equal to n by 10. So this is our loop. How many times the loop will be continuing? We don't know. So until n is equal to 0. If n is equal to 0, then loop will be stopped. Otherwise it will continue. How many times we don't know. Okay. So that here sum plus remainder, here remainder nothing but here n by 10. So the loop will be continue. So see here first, when we do this n by 10, what we get? Quotient part. So by 10 we are doing division. 345 by 10, do it yourself. Then you will get a remainder part 34. That 34 will be stored in n again. Again it comes here. N value 34. 34 not equal to 0, true. Then it come here. Remainder is equal to n by n percentile 10. N value 34. 34 percentile 10 means the 4 is the remainder. Remainder will be stored in rem. Then again sum. So previously sum value is of 5. Now remainder is 4. 5 plus 4, 9. Okay, 9 will be stored in sum. Again it will come here. N is equal to n by 10. So n is equal to n by 10. N value is 34. 34 by 10 means here 10 3s are 30. That means 3 is the quotient. 3 will be stored in this n. 3 not is equal to 0, true. Then it will come here, n percentile 10. Okay, now like that. Now remainder part 3 we will get. The 3 will be stored in this rem. Then sum means previously sum value is 9. 9 plus 3 is equal to 12 will be stored here. Again it will do 3 by 10. Quotient part is 0. Now it will check it. N not is equal to 0. Yes. Here condition is a false. N not is equal to 0. Condition is false, because here n value became 0. So then now we can do this system dot out dot println sum of digits is plus sum sum. Now we save this while example. We can java c while example dot java Java while example. Sum of digits is 12. This is a while loop. This using this while loop we are performing this. Okay. Yeah, the next third one is a do while. We can finish this also today. Do while. So this do while works as a while, but some sensitive difference is there. Okay. So first we write the syntax, then understand easily. Syntax do, then the statements. After statements, we can close this with the while condition. While condition and here semicolon compulsory. Okay, now so the for loop and while loop both does not have the semicolon, but do while contains the semicolon at the end. So here in this we write statements. The statements will execute. See, the condition is checking at exit level. We can not at entry level. The while loop entry level, but here exit level. Okay, so here we write in this condition is evaluated at exit level. So we call it is a exit level loop. Exit level loop. Okay, right. See, one thing is already you know that if the condition is false, even though condition is false, the statements will execute at least once. Okay, that way right. Even though condition is false, the statements will execute at least once. At least once. The statements will execute at least once. So that means the condition is not checking while entering. So at exit level, it is checking. That means the statements will execute. If the condition is true, then it works as how the while loop is working. Okay, this is the difference between this. That is. So we will see one example. This here we can change these statements. About do while. See the example. We write here do. Write a system dot ln. This is a do while example. Do while example. Okay, just I am writing one statement. Then while I can write the condition 20 is less than 10. 20 is less than 10. Is it true? It is a false. Even though it is a false, the statement will execute at least once. Okay, right. We will save this do while example .java. Compile this Java C do while example Java do while example. This is a do while example. Only once it executes, but we can make it is true. What will be happen? Now it is true. The condition is true. So what will be happen? Just again compile it, run it. See, it is true. That means it is executing always. It enters into the infinitive loop. If you want to stop the loop, then we can write some logic here. Then we will stop it. Okay, na? Right. This is about the do while. Okay. So this is a exit level loop. In the exit level loop, the condition will be checked at end. So compulsory we must write the semicolon for this. This is about the control flow statements in the Java. Okay, right. In the next class topics after this, okay, OOPS concepts. So next concept of OOPS concept. Until now, we discussed only the initial values of the language. Any language contains these things. Even you are learning C language or C++ or Python or JavaScript, any language you are learning, these are the fundamental topics we completed. Now Java OOPS concepts we are going to start from tomorrow onwards. Okay, now tomorrow we will see OOPS concepts. So okay, now don't skip the class. Okay, now tomorrow onwards class will be go on pure Java topics. Okay, now so excellent topics. So I can also explain in detail every topic. So that is how to write the class, how to create object, and how to perform inheritance in Java, polymorphism, everything we will discuss in this. So that's why tomorrow onwards we will continue this OOPS concept, so you can practice more. If you have any doubts, you can unmute or you can send through the chat. When will it break through the loops or in do while loop concept as it is continuously executing? Okay, here I wrote here 20 greater than 10. Just we can write the logic that int, for example, int a is equal to 0. I can take. Now I write here a is less than or equal to 10. Okay. Now within this we write a plus plus. Now this statement will execute, a value will increase and it will check it. Again it will come here. If the condition is true, then it will continue. As the same how we are using that. See here in the command prompt we go the desktop Java C, then do while dot do while dot Java. While dot Java. Okay, then Java do while example. What happened? Do while are only accepted the annotated processing explicitly. Do while example. I do here. What is the problem? Java C. Oh, sorry. So I need to remove this C. Okay, see how many times it came? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is okay now 0 to 10, 11 times. 0 to 10, 11 times it is. That means whatever we are using in a while loop, same thing here we can use, but the syntax is different. And one thing is, if the condition is false, then also the loop will be continue at least once. That is, for example, I can take here a is equal to 10. A is equal to 10. Then I am writing here a plus plus. Okay, a less than or equal to 10. So condition is true or false? Compulsory condition is a false, because a value will become here 11. A less than or 10? No. Equal to 10? No. So now check it. Only once it will execute. See, once it came, because the condition is false. That we can stop by using these conditions at least. Okay, now. Okay, so Bala Sainath, okay. Yeah, the next anyone? Thank you for all.